Islam, Peace Hotep, and welcome once again to Canaanland Moors Free Tuesday class. I want to say peace and love to all the Moors worldwide that are living up to the expectations as laid down by our illustrious prophet, Noble Ali. We want to give supreme honors to Allah for finding an ounce of gratitude for the fallen sons and daughters of the Asiatic nation and blessing us with a prophet. So we give supreme thanks to the higher force, to the ancestors, because as we know, our people, classified as Negro, Black, and Colored, African American, African Canadian, etc., are in the worst position that humanity has ever seen. Right? You have people who are coming out of 6 point whatever magnitude earthquake in Chile living better than Negro, Black, and colored people. That should say something. You got people living in war-torn countries that every day, all day, it's gunfire and bombs. I'm not talking about, little black on black crime, pea shooter crap. We're talking about assault weapons, planes, fighter jets flying over their house and stuff like that, living better than Negro, Black, colored people. And as Moors, we know that our people's condition that they're in, that they're going through, is really brought on themselves. Nobody to blame, nobody to point the finger at. We're the ones, right? Whether we look at it from the perspective of the Moors, how come the Moors don't have nothing? Because the Moors robbed the treasury. When I look at it, how come black people don't have nothing? Because their black leaders didn't sold them out. So we already know what's up. And our position as Moors is to do the best that we can to try to correct some of these wrongs so that the up and coming, the unborn, and the children could have something. And so they don't have to go through what we're going through right now. But, as we know, when we look at the so-called quote-unquote black nation, nothing's changing for them. Repetitive theme of being on the bottom and not having anything. So we want to start today by giving honors to a young Moor, just to show that, regardless of what, Moors do what they can. Right? Rodney said, in order to change the people, you must change their literature. Right? This is one of the younger brothers, and I could say that's under my tutelage, that's doing serious time right now in Stateville Correctional Center in Illinois. Came out with a book called The Cultivation of I Am. a know thyself curriculum, right? When you're locked up in the stock, you have a lot of time to think. And it's clear that the brother's in there thinking. It's clear that the brother's in there studying. It's clear that the brother is in tune with his ancient foremothers and forefathers when you look at the size of this that he put out from prison. Right? The cultivation of I am. So if you want to write to the brother, Andrell Parham Bey, Andrell Parhambey, Andrell Parham Bey. Inmate number K81486. And you can write to Stateville Correctional Center, P.O. Box 112, Joliet, Illinois, Joliet, Illinois, 60434. Andrell Parham Bey, K81486, Stateville Correctional Center, P.O. Box 112, Joliet, Illinois, 60434. To order the book, you can get the book for 20 notes, which includes shipping and handling, and you mail your check or money order to Midnight Express Books, P.O. Box 69, Berryville, 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 AR 72616. The Book of Hardcore Reality is not fiction. The cultivation of I Am is an educational venue of work in a mythology created by the author. Included in the book is a sample lesson book that gives explanations on what the work is about and how to decode it. So once again, Midnight Express Books, P.O. Box 69, Berryville, AR 72616. You may also buy this book at midnightexpressbooks.com. midnightexpressbooks.com. Secondly, if you haven't, you don't got your Iron Sheik 4 Rapper Inquisition double album, or if you don't have your Iron Sheik 5 Moorish Master MC double album, you can get those at willofallah.com. And on top of that, on the willofallah.com website, you'll also get Iron Sheik 1, 2, and 3 and the mix CD Memory Lane, which is a free download. It's also on YouTube. So where are we at? We're at giving the Prophet his dues, giving him his props, because if it wasn't for Noble Drew Ali, we wouldn't have proclaimed that we're Moors. If it wasn't for Noble Drew Ali, we would be still Negro, black, colored, African American, playing this game that's our identity, pushing the lie to our people, pushing the lie to our children, and creating the circumstances that they suffer out of ignorance of the facts. And the fact is that we, dark-skinned people of the planet, collectively are known as Moors. Don't want to accept that? Stay Negro, black, colored. Stay going through whatever it is that you're going through without having any remedy whatsoever other than programs given to you by the colonizer. We will read our letters that are supposed to be read in every meeting. Keep in mind, like we said last class, as soon as you hear Moors talking about going to service, not meetings, know that they're religiousized, dogmatized Moors. Stay away from them, but go to the temple, because the temple is right. The temple is perfect. The temple is guided by Allah. Don't be fooled, or don't let the frauds that are holding the seats of power in the temple confuse you with the perfection of the temple. They're not the same. Don't let the people who hold the seats of power of the Moorish Divine and National Movement, Moorish Holy Temple of Science, Moorish Science Temple of America, confuse you into thinking that those people that are running a fraud in those buildings are representatives of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Moorish Holy Temple of Science, Moorish Divine and National Movement. Why? Because there was a sellout in this. There was infiltration in this. The reason why half you people haven't heard about Noble Drawley is because of infiltration. The reason why 90% of you people think that, the Moors don't got nothing going on and when are the Moors going to do whatever is because of infiltration. Because we had it all. And what did we do? People came into the movement with malicious intent, squandered finance, didn't do their job of teaching the people about their nationality and birthrights, played leadership games with people, played powerhouse games with people, and now here we are. Oh yeah, and don't forget they killed the prophet too, the body. So, man is spirit, not the flesh, but they got rid of the body, right? Under the assumption that, they're doing something to stop this. Well, the reason why you're here sitting in that seat watching this is because you know that something's wrong. And you know that there has to be something that can be done to correct what's wrong. And those are the only people that we cater to. We do not cater to people who have stepped. We do not cater to people who call themselves black today and Moors tomorrow and, have nationality cards in their pocket, but they're going to go on Breakfast Club and then not tell people that they're Moors and they should proclaim their nationality, but they're going to talk about land and they're going to talk about economics and they're going to talk about all this stuff. We don't cater to people who are spineless cowards and would never stand up to a policy so-called officer or policy enforcer, never stand up to a judge, never stand up to IRS, never stand up to Klansmen, neo-Nazi, or whatever, but they talk all that stuff behind closed doors about kill white people and all that. You don't cater to those people. If you are those people, you don't need to be here. Somebody told you check this out, and you're just here just because you want to hear what the Moors got. You don't. This is not the spot, because we cater only specifically to individuals who have a brain in their head and a mind that's attached to the reservoir of intellect that all living things perceive. And majority of people gave up that position by claiming to be things that they're not. That's why you can hear people like Polite in his talking about the Umar Johnson madness going on, that forget the ancestors and forget the spirits and all that stuff is spooky. And he's practical and all that type of stuff. But then, you know, you're going to call people black, you know what I mean? You're going to call his daughters black girls. He'll call himself black man. He's going to let his daughter be on camera with pum-pum shorts and talk about Umar Johnson has, you know, issues because he likes strippers. But his daughter's going to be in pum-pum shorts on Sonner TV, talking about disrespecting Omar Johnson, disrespecting women, and she's there wearing pum-pum shorts. Little girl. And these are the people that people want to come teach them about some black sovereignty and black economics. We're not catering to any of that. All we do is cater to active Moors. Passive Moors, we don't cater to them. Religiousized, dogmatized Moors, we don't cater to them. Definitely we don't cater to dirty Moors. They can get the finger, they can get whatever else that they're going to get. Cussed out, tell about their mom, whatever. Our only position is to reawaken the Moors who have always been with the Prophet. Reawaken them so that they can take their place and make sure that this information gets to the young and unborn so that they don't have to suffer like we're suffering. And things like that have already taken place. You know, if we use, you know, somebody like Taj Bey as an example, right? He got a son, Hannibal Bey. And if you heard Hannibal, you know he's not Negro, black, colored, none of that. Grand Sheik Nature and Sheikah Sneaker, El Bey. Talk to their children, you know that they're not on no Negro, black, colored, and they're going to defend this till they got children. Halim El Bey, Kadir El Bey. You talk to their children, you know that they're not on no Negro, black, colored, and selling out for some fiat or whatever. Right? Sister Rosmariah, you talk with Brother Mizraim. You know that he came out of the womb seeing and knowing. And he's going to carry out some law and is carrying out law as prescribed by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and doing everything in their power to make sure that his name does not be buried again. So we're going to uphold him and read these letters that were supposed to be read in every meeting that Moors chose not to read because, you know, they were playing this powerhouse game with your birthright and not telling you what Noble Drew Ali said to tell you, so you can not be, you know, just finding out that you're a Moor in 2015. Warning from the Prophet to be read in every meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must put an end to all radical and agitating speeches while on their jobs, homes, or on the public streets. We advocate peace and not destruction. Stop trying out your cards with the Europeans, for it causes confusion. There has been much confusion caused by members trying out their cards. The cards are for your salvation. Failure of obeying my orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members that seek to hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the Prophet, or to violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement, will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors must obey the laws laid down to them by their Prophet, and if they lose confidence in their Prophet, give up your card and button, cease wearing your turban or fez, and return to the state where I, the Prophet, found you. For this is a holy and divine movement founded by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And if the Prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet is sending out a divine plea to all true Moorish Americans that they may do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Another thing that we want to read is prophet makes a plea to the nation. And keep in mind, all these things that we're reading are writings the year Prophet Noble Drew Ali was assassinated. Our divine and national movement stands for the specific grand principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And I, the Prophet, am applying to all loyal, faithful Moors, members, and the American citizens to help me in my great uplifting acts of uplifting fallen humanity among the Asiatic race and nation. For I have suffered much and severely in the past through misunderstanding of what this movement was dedicated to. It is the great God Allah alone that guides the destiny of this divine and national movement. It is the great God Allah alone that guides the destiny of this Moorish movement. I know all true American citizens are identified by national descent names to answer and apply to the free national constitution of this free national republic of the United States of America. That is why I am calling on all true national citizens to help me morally and financially in my great work I am doing to help this national government. For without a free national name, with a descent flag of your forefathers, there is not a national divine title of the government in which we live. This is from your true and divine prophet unto all American and foreign sympathizers. And the letter to be proclaimed every meeting, the second letter to be proclaimed every meeting, because, we as Moors coming into this from an active mindset have to acknowledge at all times that there was a sellout. So don't play, nothing's wrong with the Moorish movement and, it's running smoothly and all that. Don't even play, right? We already know that people came into this to destroy this. And by the grace of Allah, who guides the destiny of the Moorish movement, they couldn't. And now they're on Front Street with their pants around their ankles because they thought that they can pull a fast one on Allah, which, you have to wonder what, they didn't read this stuff? Obviously not. Because if they knew Allah guided the destiny of this Moorish movement, they would know that whatever it is that they did would have had no effect. Right? Because their assumption is that they got Noble Drew Ali way, now they can take over and they can make this run how it's running. Well, that's really not the case right now, because new breed of Moors now coming in. And these Moors are eyes wide open, seeing and knowing. Right? These are the Moors now that are here. And these Moors that have eyes wide open, seeing and knowing, they are not playing pussyfoot with this Moorish divine and national movement. They are taking this thing to the hedges and the highways, and people are waking up. I know personally, myself, me, just one individual, have connected with Moors from all over the world just because we're not playing games with this. This is the people's birthright, and they have a right to know about this. They have a right to know about it. It's not up for debate. It's not up for, well, give me 1,500 and then I'll come to your whatever and teach a class. That's not what this is. If you want to, get some retirement package, whatever, from this, go be black guy and go do some debates or whatever. This is birthright. This is not something that is sellable. If you're coming in thinking that, oh, nobody knows about this, so then I can tack on some price tags on this and then sell this over. That's not what this is. You are going to fail. Just like Umar failed. Just like he failed. Right? People are going to talk crap about, ancestors are spookism. Alright. If ancestors are spookism, how come Umar lost $1 million? Because really, what he should have been doing was building a Moorish school. Because Noble Drawley is everybody's prophet. They can play like they don't want to be down with this or whatever, but he's their prophet. They want to deny him? Alright, cool. Noble Drawley told these Moors, give me your fiat, give me your money, give me finance, give me whatever it is that you got and put it into this Moorish movement, because if you don't, trust me, it's going to burn up in your pocket. And that's what's going on right now. That's why you see all these so-called black, sovereign, new covenant, whatever people, they're going on the angle of not even playing with money, because they already know that they're going to lose it as soon as they touch it. So they're going to go into all this trust and all this type of stuff, try to protect themselves that way. Well, in order to have a trust, you have to be trustworthy. Don't think you can build a trust if you're a fraud. You can't set up a trust and think that that trust is going to have some type of effect if you don't have any trust in you, or if you're not trustworthy. That's why it's called trust. But, Negro, black, color people, they're not trustworthy. Somebody call themselves black when they're brown, obviously you can't trust them. And they will fall, just like Umar fell. Guaranteed, watch. Mark the words of the adepts who, for, the past 20, 30 years have been putting things in the ethers and things have been manifested. The Moorish adepts, if you listen with the ears of the heart, you're going to hear the message, the prophecy. Not that they're prophets, but, if you study Noble Drawley, you can tap into his power anytime, at will. Which means that we have prophetic powers. You know what I mean? Just like I was talking to somebody today, and they said something prophetic about stuff toppling over, and bike just fell over. Bike just fell over. There's no wind in here or nothing like that. I wasn't even near the bike. Bike fell over. Because there's a frequency in the air right now. And people better get in tune, because trust me, don't think that it's happenstance that. Let's take a sec off the prophet for a sec. Don't think that it's just, fluke that Umar Johnson building this school. For all this time, he's talking about this school. Want to build a school, donate money. You know what I mean? Collected $250,000. Telling the Negroes, you guys not getting nothing from me. You're not getting no services from me, whatever, until you hit this 2 million and all that type of stuff. Right? word about economic plan from Polite and these people or whatever, you know, they're not talking, right? You know, zip the lip. Stripper comes out, exposes him, you know, he likes strippers or whatever. But then they got this thing set up. You think this ritual is just happening out of fluke? You think this is fluke? That of all these events that these guys been having for how much ever years they've been having events, all of a sudden they're doing a free event? All of a sudden, out the blue, they're having a free event. All of a sudden. And the event's based on Pan-Africanism and economics. And I mean, I don't know if anybody else could put on the record, anybody other than Umar, who had some invisible guy come and talk about, oh yeah, we're going to donate 1 million to your stuff. And then in the snap of a finger, that's gone. The Negro-Black colored game is in control by the powers that be. The Negro-Black colored game, anybody talking Negro-Black colored, anybody talking Negro-Black colored, they're with Rome. I don't care if they get a paycheck or not. They're with Rome. And when Rome falls, trust me, they're going to fall. Harder than Rome falls. Because remember, Nobudrali got their marks. Oh yeah, battery. Nobudrali already told them that they're Moors. They don't want to be Moors. They want to be everything but everything. They want to be everything but. Nobudrali laid down everything for these individuals to be free. But they don't want freedom. They love slavery. And they love playing the game that they're going to be the savior of their people. Just think about it. Just think about it. Isn't it ironic that as soon as this guy loses his $1 million or whatever, New Covenant head, the illustrious, supreme, grand apperception, Naisut Amun Re, Sen Atum Re, doing a free stuff to teach these people economics. Black people. Telling them about they need to set up 501c3s and stuff like that, but he doesn't suggest that they do that. But you should set up a 501c3, you know, if you want to get some benefits or whatever. You want to get credit and all this type of stuff. You want to get line of credit. Line of credit from a bankrupt, dissolved, and insolvent corporation. You're going to get a line of credit from some bankrupt corporation. And people falling for that. Drawley came 100 years ago. We tell Moors, don't expect nothing. This is not. You might get some little frivolous stuff for you. You might beat a case here, get some taxes off there, and think that you made it. We made it to the mountaintop. We ain't made nothing. That's petty. You better give this to the next generation. because that's really who's going to benefit from this. And the only people who are going to benefit in this time from this are people who were born Moors. People who were born Moors. People who came into Moors, sorry, you're going to have to take some blows or whatever for the next generation. You're going to have to be the Christ and carry the cross. No, ain't nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? We're built for it, or we wouldn't be the ones that are going to be the martyrs. Keep in mind, Drawley told the Moors about what to expect when they come into this. Drawley told the Moors, there's only going to be a handful saved. And I'm going to have fingers left over. It means everybody's not making it. Some of you Moors are going to give up your name for a morsel of bread. Some of you Moors are going to give up because Noble Drawley let the fire touch your coattails. And that was just to test you. Just to, get you, lace up your boots. They're not going to lace up boots. They don't give up on this and say, I don't want nothing to do with this. Only a handful saved. So the work that we have to do really is get this information out to the people. That should be our primary concern. Our primary concern is to get this message of nationality and birthrights to people who don't know about it. Forget about starting up trusts and all this type of stuff. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, we can have our own plates. Yeah, we can have nationality cards and put them down and get taxes off. Yeah, we can go to court, send some writs, get mortgages discharged and all that type of stuff. Yeah, we can do all that. But don't get caught up. Get off the high horse. That ain't nothing that you just did. That's this big in the grand scheme of what we're in this for. We're in this because we have to redeem some people, namely sisters and young people, because they've been sold out by their own. And we, Moors, active Moors, have an obligation to go get these people. Just like I was dealing with the Moor. You know what I mean? The Moor is telling me that, a Moor is setting up, to have him set up, plates and stuff like that. 1,200. 1,200 to get some plates that cost $15 and a card that maybe costs, give or take, card, $50. 1,200. But then, check Facebook today, and 1,200 more, he's in hospital for something. You think that's just, well, he's just in the hospital just because, he's sick or whatever? No, because you try telling people 1,200 for some stuff that costs $50. You don't think Allah and the Prophet is working on the soul plane? Really think that you're going to get away with those stuff? And it's getting that thick right now. Once again, Umar lost 1 million. This is the Prophet. He got told. Kudro warned him. Put out the video about him correcting Umar Johnson. You don't want to hear that because, Moors don't know what they're talking about. All right, well, now you lost your 1 million. Now what? Yeah, I'm gonna toot my horn because he got told. Correct your stuff. It's not time to be playing games with people's birthright. They're not hearing that. They're not hearing that. They think this is a game. They really think that this is a game. You really think that you're going to get away talking about the ancestors is spookism? Half these people don't know what's coming. Just make sure you stay away from people. That's why Drawley told you, don't endanger your life with a fool, because the fools are going to be the ones to get it first, and they're going to get it worse than anybody. Drawley told the Moors, do not endanger your life with a fool. But everybody went, yeah, we don't know what he's talking about. I mean, he stole that from the Aquarian gospel and all that stuff. All right. Keep playing. Keep supporting these dirty Moors. Don't be next to them when lightning strikes. Don't be next to them dirty Moors when lightning strikes. You better separate yourself from these people immediately, because it's going down right now. People could call it whatever they want, but it's going down right now. Just because they didn't read the letters that are supposed to be read every meeting, they took the red book, Holy Quran, changed up stuff, right? You know, I'm studying Quran, and praise Allah that I'm studying Quran with somebody else who has a Quran, and you know, we're seeing that words are changed. Like literally people took out words and put in words, or leave out like full lines, sentences they're leaving out. They thought that stuff's not going to come back around. We don't need to know who did it. Allah already knows who did it. All we have to do is recognize that, hey, something's wrong here. This says partial. It's supposed to say parcel. There's nothing called part and partial. There's nothing called that. That's not a term that anybody uses. All we have to do is recognize, oh, that's supposed to say whatever. Bam, there's the code breaker. Now that person is going to get some serious judgment for their violations. Serious judgment that they're not going to be able to stop. Just like the guy with the Aquarius, with the pitcher of water, and you're not stopping the water. Either you're going to learn how to swim, or you're drowning in the Aquarian age. That's your only option. So if you don't know how to swim, you better learn how to swim. And then remember, water is knowledge. So swimming is studying. So you better know how to study, and study well, because you are going to be inundated with information. And if you don't know how to decipher the real from the fake, trust me, you're about to get gamed. And it's going to be your fault, because you should have been studying the Prophet so you could know better. To be proclaimed in every meeting. Islam. I am glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all. Honors to all the Moors that have been faithful, that were faithful in the past, and will continue to be faithful in the future with regard to, you know, what Noble Drawley brought. Honors to all you Moors. I am glad to know that I have a few, F-E-W, few faithful Moors. Few faithful Moors. Just look up few. Just for, you know, we know what few is, but just look up few. Just, you know, just to look it up and just recognize that no Drawley said few faithful Moors. Why did he say few? And then look up few. Just so you know exactly what he meant when he said few faithful Moors. So you can know exactly what he was dealing with during his time, so you can know exactly what you're dealing with today, if you're one of those few faithful Moors. And I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. Okay, so love, truth, peace, freedom, justice. Okay, truth is the second principle. Okay, so we already got that. On top of that, there's a divine truth on top of just truth. And then, you know, you're going to look up truth, and then you're going to look up divine. So you can be clear as to what type of truth on top of truth Noble Drew Ali wanted you to know. There is a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people on our side of the nation that claim it was only a joke and unreal. Jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people on our side of the nation. So the people on our side of the nation that thought this was a joke and unreal are Asiatics, not necessarily Moors, because Negro, black, colored people, they're on our side of the nation. They might think that they're somewhere else. They might think they came here on slave ship. They might think that they, are 14th Amendment citizens and they're black, Negro, colored, or whatever like that. The actual factual is that they're Moors. What they think is irrelevant because they're Negro, black, colored people. They're a minority. What they think doesn't matter. What they think is not relevant to anything. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me, so they themselves may take charge of the situation. I have notified these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors, once again, right, this specific group of Moors that Noble Drew Ali identified as few. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that paid their divine respect to me and the movement will be remembered. Not just respect, but divine respect to the Prophet. You know what divine respect is? We know what respect is. We know what truth is. But when you add divine to those principles, that's putting it in a whole different realm of thought. A whole different realm of thought. That is why I am calling upon all faithful Moors. Once again, that theme of the particular type of Moors that Noble Drew Ali is addressing. The faithful Moors. Only them. Forget the members and the American citizens and the whatever. Faithful Moors. So if he's addressing, if you know that you're a faithful Moor, and Noble Drew Ali is addressing you, faithful Moors, that means this is personal between you and him. Because there's obviously unfaithful Moors who he doesn't even care about. He's not even considering them. He's addressing you, faithful Moors. Recognize that you have a special position. Recognize that you are the chosen few of the many called. And the work that needs to be done is going to be done by you. There is not anything that's going to happen in this Moorish movement if the faithful Moors don't do it. Don't expect anything. Don't look for anything. People can say whatever. But 700 videos, because I have faith in the Prophet and what he brought. 5, 6 Moorish albums. Working on a triple album right now. Wisdom of the Womb, Al Moroccan's triple album, where we got brothers who are in the street life or whatever to come into the studio and make them change their stuff that they write about in their little crap mix CDs or whatever like that. Make them talk about Noble Drew Ali and make them talk about law and changing the vibration out here. Make them do that. Because we have faith in what Noble Drew Ali brought. And we're going to do whatever we got to do to make sure that his name stays in the minds of the people in some way, shape, or form. And we're not even telling that everybody got to have 700 videos out there. But we know that there's enough work for everybody to do to find a slot and fill it. And do that to the best of your ability. To prove yourself worthy. To prove yourself worthy. Whatever skill you got, I don't care. Be a Moor with that skill. And don't expect anything. As soon as you start expecting stuff, you lose power. That's why you got power. That's why Canaanland got so much power that we got Moors all over the globe wanting to be down with our temple. You think that that's not Allah and the Prophet at work? You think that, you know, we find out about Noble Drew Ali coming here and meeting with Oscar Bruton and Madame Bruton coming to Toronto? And Noble Drew Ali was in this jurisdiction and there's no temple here? That we're just going to sit back and, oh, well, it doesn't matter or whatever? Faithful. The only way it is to be in this. Having faith in what Noble Drew Ali brought and left for you. Because remember, he told them all, I brought you everything it takes to save a nation, now take it and save yourself. But they don't want that. They want to go get UCCs, find somebody else's stuff to save them. They want to go learn from free man, sovereign people. Go to them, get something to save them. When Drew Ali said he brought you everything it takes to save a nation and save yourself with it. Digest that statement. He brought you everything it takes to save yourself. Everything. And people go in other places. And we understand why. You know, people want to see stuff today. You're not seeing nothing today. You're 100 years behind. Anybody that's 100 years behind and expects to see something in the manifest tomorrow has mental problems. And they maybe need to go back to be black and, you know, keep your wishful thinking going on. Because if you're saying that you're Moors, know that people played you. Right? Just like Europeans. Europeans want to say, yeah, we're the founders of civilization, the founders of the United States of America and whatever like that. All right. Well, if you're claiming that you're the founders of whatever, then all the evils that the real founders did, you got to take that too. Which is why they're in trouble. Because they're really getting judgment that we're supposed to be getting. That we're not getting because they said we're going to take thinking that they're going to get away with something. Doesn't work like that. Doesn't work like that. That is why I am calling upon all faithful Moors. I am calling on all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness. So, you're faithful already. We acknowledge that you Moors who are active and you love the Prophet, and you care about the Moorish movement, and you have a greater respect for womanhood, and you care about the children getting this, you're faithful. Okay, well, Drew Ali sits up. 1929 asked you, Moors, to increase your faithfulness. And faithfulness wasn't increased back then. People, hid these letters, so you can't increase your faithfulness. So now you're 100 years behind of increasing your faithfulness. So doesn't that mean you have to go quadruple faithfulness increasing right now? You have to increase your faithfulness 100 years more. Today, not in 100 years. Today, you have to increase your faithfulness for 100 years in order to catch up to what the dirty Moors try to get you out of. That is why I'm calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your Prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. Your divine Moorish movement. And recognize that this is a grand sheik of the Moorish movement telling you that in this letter, Noble Drew Ali is telling you that this movement is yours. This is your Moorish movement. This is not these people who've been claiming that they're heads of the Moorish movement's movement. This is yours, the faithful Moors. That's why when Islam to Sister Sila Bey, who's been repping for Moorish Holy Temple of Science, 2F, that's why when she posted her class or her meeting repping Holy Temple of Science, 2F, chartered by the doctor, the good doctor, Alim El Bey, chartered by him, Sheikh, S-H-A-Y-K-H, Rasadi El, came up bashing her. Why? Because those are the Moors that's been playing like this is the heads movement. And they didn't charter her. So where did she get the audacity to come out and say that she's Moorish Holy Temple of Science and she's doing some whatever? Because she's a faithful Moor. She's not sellout dirty Moor like them that got pistols in their grand sheet drawer, pulling their pistol out on Moors when they try to challenge them. So don't be fooled by a sign on a building. Because remember, the Moors who sold out are going to take the position that they are Moorish Science Temple and it's their movement, when it's not theirs. Drew Ali in 1929, in the letter to be proclaimed in every meeting that those bastards didn't give you or didn't read to you at your meetings, is telling you that this is your divine Moorish movement. Yours. So if it's yours, Islam to the 22 Moors online, just to hit that vortex. You already know what it is. Those Moors that dropped the ball and didn't read this to you, didn't want you to know that this is yours. Didn't want you to know that, you're really supposed to be taking this and doing with it what you will. Exercise your 5 senses. To be a good Moorish leader, you must study your Quran and your divine constitution and bylaws. To be a good, this is no withdrawal you're talking about. To be a good Moorish leader, you should study your Holy Quran and your divine constitution and bylaws. He didn't say to be a good Moorish leader, you have to go through the Arab chamber. He didn't say before you be a good Moorish leader, you have to, backflip 50 times in one spot. He didn't say you have to limbo under this bar right here, 2 feet off the ground, in order to be a good Moorish leader? He said to be a good Moorish leader, study your Quran and your divine constitution and bylaws. Once you do that, then you're a good Moorish leader, and it's time for you to lead. But Jawali didn't come for followers. Jawali didn't come for people who run behind people and, hi, can I do this? Can I want to do this? Can I do? No. Fill a spot. Fill a spot. Fill a spot. You see that there's a need? You can get 800 grand out of the bank. Go get 800 grand, build what it is, put Noble Jawali's name on the building, and get to work. Nothing's going to happen unless Moors do it. Nothing is going to happen unless Moors do it. Specifically, active, faithful Moors. I don't care about dirty Moors, passive Moors, or whatever like that. That's their own business. Right? I need finance, and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without I, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my works which I have performed in the last few years. Bam, bam. Let's get into some more of Noble Jawali to prove where these clowns drop the ball, right? Clowns drop the ball, trying to play like they're Mr. Tuffy, you know, playing Mr. Tuffy, playing like they got it going on, right? But they don't have a goddamn thing going on, nothing going on. And it's a shame that they're going to complain later, right, when they were told. COINTELPRO agenda. 1. Prevent the coalition of militant black nationalist groups. In unity there is strength, a truism that is no less valid for all its triteness. An effective coalition of black nationalist groups might be the first step toward a real Mau Mau, Black Revolution Army in America, the beginning of a true black revolution. So what we're going to do, you already know, we're going to change black to Moors so you can really understand the COINTELPRO agenda. And really understand that everybody who doesn't say that they're Moors, they're down with the COINTELPRO agenda. So we're going to come again. Actually, we're going to reread, right? COINTELPRO agenda. Prevent the coalition of militant Moorish nationalist groups. In unity there is strength, a truism that is no less valid for its triteness. An effective coalition of Moorish nationalist groups might be the first step toward a real Mau Mau, Moorish Revolutionary Army in America, and the beginning of a true Moorish revolution. 2. Prevent the rise of a Messiah who could unify and electrify the militant Moorish nationalist movement. El-Hajj Malik el-Shabazz might have been such a Messiah. He is the martyr of the movement today. Martin Luther King, Stokely Carmichael, Kwame Ture, and Elijah Poole Bey all aspire to this position. Elijah Poole Bey is less of a threat because of his age. King could be a very real contender for this position should he abandon his supposed obedience to quote-unquote white liberal doctrines or nonviolence and embrace Moorish nationalism. Carmichael, Kwame Ture, has the necessary charisma to be a real threat in this way. 3. Prevent violence on part of the Moorish nationalist groups. This is of primary importance and is, of course, a goal of our investigative activity. It should also be a goal of the counterintelligence program to pinpoint potential troublemakers and neutralize them before they exercise their potential for violence. For all the so-called capoeira Moors and martial arts Moors and blade work Moors and guerrilla warfare Moors and ex-military Moors and muftis and Moors who are, El Rockin and Black Spades and whatever. Y'all are the violent Moors that they're scared of. 4. Prevent militant Moorish nationalist groups and leaders from gaining respectability by discrediting them in 3 separate segments of the community. The goal of discrediting Moorish nationalists must be handled tactically in 3 ways. You must discredit these groups and individuals to, first, the responsible Negro community. Second, they must be discredited by the European community, both the responsible community and to liberals who have vestiges of sympathy for militant Moorish nationalists simply because they are Moors. Third, these groups must be discredited in the eyes of Negro radicals, the followers of the movement. This last area requires entirely different tactics from the first 2. Publicity about violent tendencies and radical statements merely enhances Moorish nationalists to the last group. It adds respectability in a different way. 5. A final goal should be to prevent the long-range growth of militant Moorish organizations, especially among youth. Specific tactics to prevent these groups from converting young people must be developed. Targets. Primary targets of the counterintelligence program, Moorish nationalist hate groups, should be the most violent and radical groups with their leaders. We would emphasize those leaders and organizations that are nationwide in scope and most capable of disrupting this country. These targets members and followers of the, and they say, student nonviolent coordinating and Christian leadership revolutionary, will say all the Moorish groups, everybody who says that they're active Moors, everybody who says that they're faithful Moors, those are the Moors that are the targets. Which is why when we look at the Moorish movement today, we notice that all the Moors who are active and all the Moors who are taking a position of exercising their birthrights are the ones that get caught up the most in something with these foreigners. The faithful ones. But then, they don't talk about when they get released from custody and stuff like that. They just keep it hush instead of exposing that. But we know that, they don't talk about it because they get put on gag orders and stuff like that in order for them to get released. Right? Chapter 5. Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Moorish Holy Temple of Science. Verse 12. One day, as he was bringing forth the tools for work, he said, "These tools remind me of the ones we handle in the workshop of the mind, where things are made of thoughts and where we build up character. We use the square to measure all our lines, to straighten out our crooked places of the way and make the corners of our conduct square. We use the compass to draw the circles around our passions and desires and keep them in the bounds of righteousness." Once again, we use the square to measure all our lines, to straighten out the crooked places of the way, and make the corners of our conduct square. We use the compass to draw the circles around our passions and desires to keep them in the bounds of righteousness. Now, you gotta, because it's hot topic or whatever, so we gotta talk about Umar and his stripper friend, who, clearly see she's well endowed, making you focus on the Ankh and the Africa down there. And it's real amazing how, he's a psychology whatever, and he never picked up on this energy. It's real crazy. It's real crazy how he's Mr. Psychology and he never picked up on this energy. Then you never picked up on the energy. Really didn't pick up on the energy. Really just didn't realize the frequency. I will let you know what the frequency is right now. I'm gonna let you know right now. This for all those Moors who like to play, conscious pimps and stuff like that. Who like to play, energy games. This is, Jawali told you back then, this is a new era of time now. It's a new era of time now. It's for all the Moors out there. If you were thinking with the right head, it's not a joke out here right now. It is real right now. Use Dr. Umar as an example. It is real right now. The following excerpts are from another ministry in a booklet titled Sex with Demons, Nightmares, Incubus, and Succubus. Sexual experiences with demonic spirits are very real, even in this day and age. I have personally taken both men and women through deliverance that have experienced this and have become bound by the spirits of incubus and succubus. I have personally taken both men and women through deliverance where the witch or warlock was actually, through the use of astral travel, seducing them, having sexual relations with them as they slept with them, thinking it was only a dream. This having been done through the utilization of familiar spirits. In every deliverance situation of this nature, the one thing that has been required is total and complete honesty from the person seeking the deliverance. I have taken some individuals through deliverance, and the Holy Ghost has caused these spirits to manifest, reveal themselves. Some individuals have enjoyed the sexual experience with these demons. Thus, deliverance was not effective. In some instances, I have found that those spirits have entered in through masturbation and fantasy lust. If the individuals renounced the fantasy lust and stopped masturbating, they were delivered. I have taken several individuals through deliverance from those demons, and I have found that people have been violated, raped by spirits, not actually wanting to believe it or not understanding what happened to them until deliverance revealed it. But they know that they had experienced something painful and undesirable. In medieval legend, a succubus, plural succubi, from Latin succuba, prostitute, is a female demon that seduces men, especially monks, in dreams to have sexual intercourse. They draw energy from the men to sustain themselves, often until the point of exhaustion or death of the victim. From mythology and fantasy, Lilith and the Lilin, Lilitu, and Rasalka were succubi. A person who not only pulls your friend in and ruins their life, but also tries to pull you and other innocent friends and bystanders into the whirling maelstrom of attention mongering. Suddenly, you hate your friend. You hate what they've become, but you still hold out hope. That's not the friend I had, you think to yourself. I'm certain he'll come to their senses when I point out what a nightmare that person they're dating is. Only you're wrong. The succubus doesn't attract a victim based on appeal or usefulness. No. The succubus and her male counterpart cast a charm spell on your friend, something to artificially win their heart over while the parasite sucks their life dry. Use the following indicators to tell if your friend has a succubus incubus problem. Not only do they suck your life force dry, they also make lousy warlock pets. Big quotes. Money is usually the first thing that will get sucked dry. Money is a loose representation of a person's life. $1 million gone in an instant because of a succubus, because of somebody dissing Moors instead of considering what Moors are saying so they can use the compass to draw the circles around their passions and desires and keep them in the bounds of righteousness. If he used the compass to draw the circles around his passions and desires and kept them in the bounds of righteousness, he wouldn't be going through nothing that he's going through right now. But, you can't really do anything for people who openly want to go against the Prophet and what he brought. Can't do anything about it. You just got to accept the fact that some people are meant to be victims, and hopefully they learn from their victimization. Once they learn from their victimization, yes. If they don't learn from their victimization, the spiral continues downward. We also wanted to put our good friend on the record. Rochelle Dozal, our NAACP European leader that pretended to be black when she really was black, because she's European, so black means pale, so she really was black. And then everybody's mad, but then nobody's mad at Beyonce for wanting to be European with blonde hair, and all these sisters out here with blonde hair wanting to be European. Nobody's mad at them. That's cool. They can be European. They can pretend to be European, but this European can't pretend to be black. Well, but if she is black, then she's not really pretending. And then it's just confusing. It's just really confusing. Just confusing. All stuff just to confuse people. That's all they want to do. Confuse. That's their job. Confuse people. Judge rules administrative court system illegal after 81 years. Well, it has been a long time coming, but all along there have been discussions behind closed doors, never in public, that the administrative law courts established with the New Deal were totally unfounded and unconstitutional. With the anniversary of Magna Carta and the right to a jury trial coming up after 800 years, The era of Roosevelt's big government is quietly unraveling. A federal judge's ruling against the Securities and Exchange Commission for using its own administrative law judges in an insider trading case is perhaps the beginning of the end of an alternative system of justice that took root in the New Deal. Constitutionally, the socialists tore everything about the idea of a democracy apart, or of a republic, really. It was more than taxing one party to the cheers of another in denial of equal protection. It was about creating administrative agencies. One, delegating them to create rules with the force of law as if passed by Congress, sanctioned by the people. Two, the creation of administrative courts that defeated the tri-party government structure, usurping all power into the hand of the executive branch as if it were a dictatorship run by the great horde of unelected officials. Not discussed in the coverage of this story is that the administrative law courts are a fiefdom, to put it mildly. F-I-E-F-D-O-M. Just look that up. They have long been corrupt and traditionally rule in favor of their agencies, making it very costly for anyone to even try to defend themselves. If someone were to attempt this feat, first they have to wear the cost of an administration proceeding and appeal to an Article 3 court judge. Then they must appeal to the Court of Appeals and finally plead to the Supreme Court. The cost of such adventures is well into the millions, and good luck on actually getting justice. Furthermore, administrative law courts cannot sentence you to prison, but they can fine you into bankruptcy. So the lack of a criminal prosecution meant the judges did not have to be lawyers. They could be anyone's brother-in-law, looking for a job where he just rules in favor of the agency, not to be bothered with law. Unless the victim has a pile of money, there is no real chance that he or she can afford to defend themselves. This is why the agencies cut deals with the big houses and prosecute the small upstarts who lack the funds to defend themselves. In a 45-page ruling, 4 and 5, 9, right? So they're on it. U.S. District Judge Lee Martin May in Atlanta issued an injunction halting administrative law proceedings against Charles Hill, a businessman who the SEC accused of reaping an illegal $744,000 profit trading in Radian System stock. This is typical. The legal fees involved will exceed the amount of money he is alleged to have made. The typical result is just to pay the fine and they go away. It is cheaper. The judge ruled that the SEC agency violated the Appointments Clause of the Constitution by subjecting Hill to proceedings before an administrative law judge who isn't directly accountable to the president, officials in charge of the SEC or the courts under Article 3. The ruling is 81 years overdue. The entire structure of administrative agencies blackmailing people has been outrageous. Then you take the banks who just entered a plea of criminality guilty into manipulating markets. They are now formally felons who engage in violating SEC rules, and thus under the SEC rules they are no longer eligible for a banking license. The banks are too big to jail, and the SEC has waived their own rules, of course, to exempt the banks. So they can engage in fraud and manipulation, get caught, pay billions in fines, and the SEC exempts them from losing their licenses. This is how corrupt the administrative agencies really are. This new decision calling the administrative law courts what they really are is reminiscent of the notorious extrajudicial proceedings of the Star Chamber operated by King James I. The Court of Chancery set up outside of the King's Bench, so there were no trials by jury. It had the same purpose, to circumvent the law. This is where our Fifth Amendment privilege came into being. That came about following the trial of John Lilburne, John Lilburne, 1615 to 1657, for handing out a pamphlet the government did not like. So if you have any intentions of engaging in commerce because, you heard somebody say something on some YouTube video or whatever like that about commerce and discharging and, exemption, secured party, creditor, debt, this and that and whatever, you're going to want to write down these 10 maxims of commercial law. So you know exactly what you need to know before you get into those stuff. All right? 1. A workman is worthy of his hire. 2. All are equal under the law. 3. In commerce, truth is sovereign. But, the commerce sovereignty pusher guys aren't going to tell you that part. They're going to tell you about their sovereign and you're sovereign, when in reality, truth is sovereign in commerce. In commerce, truth is sovereign. Now, when we check our principles, love, truth. Okay, so second principle is truth. And then Drawley said that the gold, the silver, and the commerce belong to the citizens alone. And then when we proclaim our nationality, we become de jure citizens, which means that we're now the owners or the holders of the commerce, which is really trade. But then what if our principle, truth, and we have commerce, then that means we're sovereign, but then these people are going to tell you Drawley had nothing to do with sovereignty and he didn't teach anything to do with sovereignty. And the commerce that these individuals are trying to convince you, file UCC and all that stuff to get down with, is really corporate activity, not de jure activity. If Drawley said that the gold, the silver, and the commerce belong to the citizens alone, he wasn't talking corporate. That's why, in order for you to be in commerce, through UCCs and whatever like that, you have to pay. But if you're paying, obviously, you're not sovereign. They don't tell people that. They'll let people go pay. And then charge them $1,500 for something that costs $15 to do. You know it costs $15 to file a UCC one? So we're just go on New Covenant and just go look at all the price tags, $650, $550, $1,200 that they're charging you for all these processes having to do with UCCs. That costs $15 to file. Everybody's gonna get theirs. Stay away from them people. Don't endanger your life with a fool. Trust your prophet. Have faith in what he brought you. You might not recognize, or it might not hit you yet, what he did. Just humble yourself. Guarantee you're going to go do something crazy and you will pay for it. And it's going to be your fault when, prophet sends you lightning bolts. Don't get mad. Because he told you he brought you everything it takes to save a nation. Take it and save yourself. Truth, which is sovereign, is expressed in the form of an affidavit. Truth is expressed in the form of an affidavit. That's why when Moors write their writs for so-called tribunal, court, whatever, the top of it always says affidavit of fact before it says the name of that writ. Affidavit of fact, writ of discovery. Affidavit of fact, default judgment. Affidavit of fact, writ of error. Because truth is expressed in the form of affidavits. And as soon as you go motion, you just gave them jurisdiction over anything that you're doing. Because motion, they can make decisions on that. And remember, go back and listen to all these guys with their little, sovereignty crap that they're trying to push on you. One thing they always talk about is acts. They never talk about constitution. They always talk about some act, this act, that act, tact act, whatever act. And they always talk about motions. They never talk about affidavits. Just go check. Don't believe me. And as soon as you hear them talk about motions and affidavits, or motions and acts, you already know that they're running a fraud. And on top of that, they're calling you black. And calling your people black people. But then we're gonna say, oh yeah, I got something from them or whatever. I learned something because, well, he might say black, but no, as soon as they say black, that voids them. Shouldn't be listening to anything after that. Shouldn't be listening to anything after that. As soon as they say black, immediately in your mind, cancel them out. Big X in your mind over their face. Big X. An unrebutted affidavit stands as truth in commerce. Remember, when you go to court, they're dealing with commerce because that's human trafficking. That's trade. When you go to a so-called tribunal and there's a prosecutor or a DA and you and lawyer and judge and bailiff and whatever, that's human trafficking going on. That's trade. So that's commerce. An unrebutted affidavit becomes judgment in commerce. An unrebutted affidavit. So as soon as you send an affidavit and they don't reply, you have a default judgment on them for not replying. And remember that their reply has to be relative to what you sent. You can't send an affidavit to somebody and then they send you back another statement of account that they sent you initially that made you send the affidavit in the first place. That's not called replying. That's not called rebutting the affidavit. The affidavit has to be rebutted point for point. Every point that you make, they have to rebut it. If they don't rebut it, they're in default. Get your default judgment letter ready. Send them default judgment letter and make sure that you go to somebody who's qualified. So preferably a Moorish regent or regency or consul and get them to seal your documents before you send them out. A matter must be expressed to be resolved. A matter must be expressed to be resolved. And everything that you express should be in writing, nothing out of your mouth. Everything should be in writing. No expressing yourself out of your mouth, because then, emotions get mixed up and, you get the Umar syndrome, where you stop thinking because, you see cleavage or something like that. You forget that you're a psychologist and you're supposed to know better. Not fall for the tricks of the siren. That siren blaring so loud and Umar heard nothing. Lost $1 million donation. Which was meant to happen anyways, because, he wasn't doing that school for the children or nothing, because all he kept talking about my school, Umar's school, my this, my that. He wasn't doing nothing for no black boys. He didn't care about no black boys. Trust me, he didn't care about no black boys. Right? Trust me, he didn't care about no black boys, no black people, no black anything. Why? Because I put my little $50 in. Just because I already know, you know, that you need to sacrifice in order to, you know, get a little something. So we sacrificed a little, right? What more we're talking about? Put in my little $50, so the little black group or whatever could bring him here, do lecture, you know, whatever, you know, talk their black crap, right? Came here, set up his stuff, had his books stacked up like this. When he left, books were down here. Left with $4,000 or $5,000 of book sales or whatever like that. Didn't support one local vendor out here, not one. Didn't support one local vendor. He's for black people though. He's for a black community. He's for helping black boys have a school and all this type of stuff. But he didn't help one local vendor. After he made about $4,000 off selling his books. Not one. He didn't even buy one bar of plantain soap, nothing. He didn't even buy a chew stick from somebody. Didn't support the community at all. Wanna know why he lost $1 million? Don't mess with the pineal gland of consciousness. Don't mess with Toronto. Don't play games out here. You know what I mean? Noble Drew Ali came here. Don't get it twisted. You know? Again, gotta pay a little bit of dues. You gotta sacrifice in order to get something back. You know what I mean? So we sacrificed. You know, we filmed. Polite came here. You know what I mean? Did a lecture, a black sovereignty lecture. You know what I mean? Filmed it. People didn't have no tape and all that. Didn't have no camera. You know, all you guys setting up a lecture, you don't have a camera. I don't know. But we had our camera to film our little conversations when people come by our table. Said, you know what? Sacrifice it. Film the stuff. Not only film it, upload it to the Canaanland Moors page. So everybody get their little shine or whatever. Nobody can say that we're hating on nobody. Because, you know, proof is right there on the Canaanland Moors page. Right? You know, came here with his wife. She had the tightest shirt, cleavage down to here or whatever like that. You know what I mean? Shirt open. You know what I mean? Books right here, right by the tits, so you can see the books real well. You know what I mean? Books were up to here. Books were at the tits. Left with books at the navel. Had people here even out of love put together their little package from whatever little products that they get. You know what I mean? You know, thank you so much for coming. You know what I mean? Blessing us with your presence. You know what I mean? You know, grand, whatever you call yourself, new covenant guy. Here's a little package of whatever. Oh, thank you so much. You know, appreciate that or whatever like that. Sold about $3,000 worth of books. Didn't support one local vendor. And left here with free stuff. Didn't support one vendor. Not one. Not one vendor. Not one vendor. He didn't support one vendor. Made 3,000 notes. Didn't support one vendor. Alright. No. Let's put it out there. You know what I mean? People know who they're supporting. You see them posing, going to Africa and stuff like that, and you know what I mean? Know that they raped you. Know that they raped you. You see them profiling, know that they raped you. And then they're going to have their free lecture, talk about economic plan. And guarantee you, there's going to be some donating money for some whatever, because, you know, keep the Umar Johnson alive with school and whatever like that. And, you know, we're going to help you get the trust account of the whatever. Guaranteed. Watch. Bet you. Bet you. because, finesse mastery is going on right now. Actually, let's just go there quick fast. I got that question, Heisenberg. We're going to hit that up. Let me just hit this thing up first. The Red Book. Chapter 22. The 7 days of silence passed, and Jesus, Yeshua, sitting with the sages, said, "The history of life is well condensed in these immortal postulates. These are the 7 hills on which the holy city shall be built. These are the 7 sure foundation stones on which the temple shall stand. In taking up the work assigned for me to do, I am fully conscious of the perils of the way. The cup will be a bitter one to drink, and human nature, well, might shrink. But I have lost my will in that of holy breath, and so I go my way to speak and act as I am moved to speak and act by the holy breath. The words I speak are not my own. They are the words of him whose will I do. Man is not far enough advanced in sacred thought to comprehend within the temple of Allah. So the work that Allah gave me to do is to teach men to build the temple of love within. I am sent to be a pattern of the temple that man must build within. My task as builder lies within my native land, and there upon the temple of mighty Allah made known the Allah in man. And from the lower estate of men, I will select 7 men who will represent the temple of love, Allah in man. The house of Judah, my own kindred and flesh, will comprehend but little of my mission to the world. And they will spurn me, scorn my work, accuse me falsely, bind me, take me to judgment, take me to the judgment seat of carnal men who will convict and slay me. But man can never slay truth. Though banished, it will come again in great power, for truth will subjugate the world. The temple will live, though carnal man will prostitute the sacred laws, symbolic rites, and forms for selfish ends, and make it but outward show. The few will find through it the kingdom of the soul. And when the better age shall come, the temple will stand upon the 7 postulates, and will be built according to the pattern given. Once again, and when the better shall come, the temple will stand on the 7 postulates, and will be built according to the pattern given. The time has come. I go my way unto the world, and by the power of living faith, and by the strength that you give me, and in the name of our God Allah, the kingdom of soul shall be established, and 7 hills. And all the sages said, Amen. And Jesus went his way. You better stop playing with the prophet. So this is not no joke out here. You might think it's a joke, but it's not a joke. Cujo, I live in California. How do you feel about people going to law school and becoming a lawyer? Well, like we were discussing, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, we were talking about that in Sunday's class. If you're going to be a lawyer, know that you're going to have to know how to lie. If you don't believe me, go watch the Jim Carrey movie, Liar, Liar. And they'll let you know. If you're going to school to be a lawyer, to learn law, so you can come back to the community and show the people as a Moor who learned law, all the fraud that they're doing, so Moors could start going into those places that they call tribunals with all the secrets that you learned in law school. Go hard. Matter of fact, send me an email. There are some Moors that I can connect you with that are in law school right now. Because you can't be a lawyer to help black people. because black people are property. And if you are a lawyer, that means you're an agent of the court. And if you're an agent of the court, you're not there to help anybody. You're there to help the court. Just go get your 4th edition Black's Law Dictionary and look up in propria persona. And it'll give you a full breakdown as to why, if you're going to be a lawyer, that you're going to be really a spy for the court. Just keep selling your people up. Just go ask Malik Shabazz, Black Panther guy. Malik Zulu Shabazz, he said he's Moor, knows about the Moors and stuff, and then left the Black Panther Party to go start his Black Lawyers Association crap. Because he works for them. And again, Tamir Rice and Eric Garner are dead, so you can't defend them. Too late for that. They don't need a lawyer. There's no lawyer helping them. I'm going to help some other black people, teach them about their nationality and birthrights as a lawyer. But you'll probably disbar you. Because as a lawyer, your job is to work for the court. As a job, if you work for the court, that means you're a spy. Or, you can be a DA. You could be a prosecutor, right? And get paid to defend criminals and get them off. Using all those tricks and stuff that you learned in law school to keep the criminals free and let the innocent people rot for spitting on the sidewalk. So, yeah, that's how the lawyer thing goes. But we do know Moors who are in law school, and they're faithful Moors. So they're not swayers or nothing like that. And they're passing. They're in first year, second year, beating it up. Matter of fact, they're so on it that teacher is calling them, come in the back, coffee break and stuff like that, eat biscuits or whatever, and take them on some higher levels that class isn't even on yet. So there are benefits. That's why Drew Ali said, go and get a good European education, and he can use you, because a European education is really a Moorish education, because the Moors taught the Europeans everything that they know. You can't help black people. Black people are unhelpable. The best thing that black people can do to help themselves is proclaim their nationality. But you're never, ever, 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 ever gonna help black people. You can't help you can't help things. You can't get a chair, rights. Like I said, if Moors are going to law school to learn the tricks of the trade, to bring it back to the Moorish community, to teach their people the tricks of the trade so they can go back into those places and beat those people up with their own stuff. Excellent. If Moor is going to go to be a lawyer, to come out here and then have Moors hire them to go to court for them, that defeats the purpose of being a Moor. Because Moors don't need no lawyers. Because we are the law. No lawyer has no more knowledge than a Moor at law. Lawyers know legalese. Moors know jurisprudence. Big difference. Look them up. So again, I ain't knocking it. If Moor is going to go to court or go to law school to learn the ins and outs of legalese to fill in the gaps of what Moors know, to help them do more stuff. I mean, yeah, I support them. Those Moors, deal with those Moors all the time. I mean, some good brothers. I mean, good brothers. And they're in law school. And they're doing rather well. Doing rather well. But I guarantee you, they're not going to law school to, be lawyers. Even if they have the bar card or whatever, they're not using that. That's subordinate. Like, they got a nationality card, that's their bar card. The real bar card is their nationality card. If you want to go there, right? That's the real bar card. Their nationality card. They're just gonna get that just because, right? Yeah, the one. Let me put this testimonial on the record. This is from Brother Hassan Ghazi El Bey. Peaceful greetings, beloved. After being away from my consulate reservation structure for a few weeks due to my de jure travels, I returned to my reservation to discover two small writs in the form of an unconstitutional summons, to say the least, summoning the legal fiction that I am authorized to speak about, for it cannot and never will speak for itself. After invoking the consular assistance of our beloved Moabite brother Kudro Adwell to discuss, if any, needed concept refinement before I do load my sling with smooth stones and sheath my sword for the inevitable decapitation of Goliath, i.e., talk with the writ sending policy enforcers under the rule of discovery to obtain these said court papers per the unconstitutional writs. After calling 3 times in a row, due to the call being disconnected twice, I continued to slowly but surely receive a favorable response due to speaking intelligently, standing squarely rooted in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. After the phone correspondence with Deputy Hawley of the Office of the Sheriff of Baltimore City, right now, keep in mind, Deputy Hawley of the Office of the Sheriff, not the Sheriff's Office, right? Which lets you know that, the Office of the Sheriff is corporate jurisdiction in a corporate construct called City of Baltimore, right? And the deputy is working under the guise that he's deputized by the sheriff, when really, he's just an employee of the Office of the Sheriff, right? Because there ain't no sheriff. Sheriff's not wrong, right? So after the phone correspondence with Deputy Hawley of the Office of the Sheriff of Baltimore City Sheriff's Office, I text my brother Moabite Kudro L the following as a brief testimony. We went from talking about the said court papers to Deputy Hawley openly saying that he is a free and accepted Mason and Prince Hall Mason. He went from sounding sarcastic and nonchalant to sounding submissive. Praise Allah. He also said that he'll be sure that he's the only one, sheriff, that I would have to deal with, because I am to receive these court papers between 1900 to 1915 today, Eloah, Gabriel, Moonday, 24 degrees to 1435 cosmological Morris calendar year, joined in conjunction by Monday, the 15th of June, 2015. I made sure that I verbalized my body is not to be detained. The fact is, I committed no infringements, but I seek full knowledge of the claim in question. Disclosing that I do not trust policy enforcers, even though all policy enforcers aren't malicious, but I am still cautious and on point. Islam. Prophet Noble Drew Ali, Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali, was absolutely correct, and I bear witness that standing squarely rooted in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, when you talk to them in an intelligent tone, they will be happy to give you a favorable reply. Thank you for your capacitative energy, beloved noble brother Kudra Adwell. Peace and love. Beloved, peace, beloved Moors, Brother Hassan Ghazi El Bey. Right, so letting you know, talking in an intelligent tone, and you would get what it is that you deserve, right? Um, how do you learn law? Is there a Moorish law school? Yes, there is a Moorish law school. It's called Moorish Heritage and History School. Online, they're at rvbaypublications.com. That's the Moorish Law School and History School and Writ Writing School and Astrology School and Cosmology School and anything else Moorish school that you want to learn about Moors for free. rvbaypublications.com. Go there, stay there for 5 years, and you'll be able to challenge lawyers with bar cards who say that they've been lawyers and they passed the bar 5 times over, 6 times, whatever, passed the bar. Because you deal with divine principles: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And trust me, when you go there, RV Bay Publications guarantee you, you stay there for 2 days. 2 days. Start at the top, click the first thing, read it or whatever, and then don't go to the second thing yet. Go back to the top and read over the stuff again. Because there's more information on that website than you imagine what's on that website. Guaranteed. Okay. So another question that we had. And then, this is why we tell people, send your questions early, because, we're getting on to crunch time right now, right? Why is it forbidden for a Moor to join the military? It is forbidden for a Moor to join the military because you're not joining the military, you're joining a corporate, bunch of hooligans, goons, that are going around the world killing your own brothers and sisters for European colonists. So you don't want to join the military. Because you join the military, you're pretty much selling yourself out. And, Allah doesn't take nicely to that at all. You don't want to be helping the European kill your own people. But then you're not going to go shoot some of these police in the face. But you're going to join the military and go kill your own brothers and sisters. But you're not going to shoot some of these police around here who's violating the law. So don't join the military. As Moors, do we have a military of our own? No, as Moors, we don't have a military of our own, because in Noble Ali's time, what President back then told Noble Ali is, hey, Noble Ali, you think you're the shit or whatever? If you go out there and you nationalize some Moors, I'll back you with my army and my navy. And when Noble Ali went out there and got some millions of Moors instead of the few thousand that they were cracking jokes that he might get, because they run the schools and all that stuff, they realized that he's a threat and that they would have to actually back him with their army and navy. Right? So they couldn't have that. So they took him out of circulation ASAP. With infiltration, whatever else. Right? But we don't have our own military. Right? If we nationalize all the Bloods and the Crips and the El Rockins and the Black Spades and the Triads and the whoever else that say that they're gangbangers or whatever, we have an army tomorrow that wouldn't be afraid to die or none of that stuff. They'll just need a good general to keep them in check. So we could have an army, but, we're going to have to get Jeff Fort, Chief Malik, out. a supermax if we want to have an army, which is why he's in supermax because he was building up the army, and they were like, "No, we're not having that." So they got him out of circulation. Right? That's just what it is. Right? You know they trumped up charges on Chief Malik. Right? Go check the records, and you'll see that he was waking up all these so-called gangbangers out there for their birthrights, and stop messing around with killing their brother for foolishness. Right? And it was working. Right? If not, are there any highly trained or ex-military Moors whom can train with professional family defense? I'm going to send you the name of those. Actually, I did send you the name of one of those Moors. You can go on YouTube, check him out, send a message or whatever. But I'm also going to shoot you an email with the contact so you can email the brother personally, and y'all could build on whatever, and he'll let you know what's up, because he's one of those good Moors, right? Not here to play games with people's birthright, but here to teach you something so that you can know the truth about your nationality and birthrights and consider a little bit, more than where we are. Because, where we are is kind of weak. With regard to the military, though, let's find something quickly here. Let's put something quickly on the record, since you want to know about military. All right, so just quick class. All right, the draft. Few efforts of human behavior modification are more remarkable and more effective than that of the socio-military institution known as the draft. A primary purpose of a draft or other such institution is to instill by intimidation in the young males of a society the uncritical conviction that the government is omnipotent. He is soon taught that a prayer is slow to reverse what a bullet can do in an instant. Thus, a man trained in a religious environment for 18 years of his life can, by this instrument of the government, be broken down, be purged of his fantasies and delusions in a matter of mere months. Once that conviction is instilled, all else becomes easy to instill. Even more interesting is the process by which a young man's parents, who purportedly love him, can be induced to send him off to war to his death. Although the scope of this work will not allow this matter to be expanded in full detail, nevertheless, a coarse overview will be possible and can serve to reveal those factors which must be included in some numerical form in a computer analysis of social and war systems. We begin with a tentative definition of the draft. The draft, selective service, etc., is an institution of compulsory collective sacrifice and slavery, devised by the middle-aged and the elderly for the purpose of pressing the young into doing the public dirty work. It further serves to make the youth as guilty as the elders, thus making criticism of the elders by the youth less likely. It is marketed and sold to the public under the label of patriotic national service. So we'll stop there. You can find that in King Alfred Plan. You can get that on rvbaypublications.com. We want to say Islam to all the Moors. Peace and love for being in class today. Keep in mind, don't endanger your life with a fool. Keep in mind, watch out for the succubus and the incubus out there, because it's that time right now where, they are running every scheme that they can to get you to detach. You know what I mean? They're gonna, asses getting fatter and more cleavage showing and more men flexing pictures and stuff like that, just so they can get you off of what you're on. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. Know that you have a prophet. And the prophet came to redeem you from your sinful ways. And the sinful ways are calling yourself names that delude to slavery. Sinful ways are not bounding your passions. The sinful ways are gravitating to the lower self, which breeds everything that you don't want to be dealing with. So Islam to all the Moors, peace, love, and hotep. Don't forget, Block Talk Radio coming up. Moorish Heritage and History School. blogtalkradio.com/MHHS-eyes wide open. 9 o'clock. 9:30, sorry. Call-in number 347-945-5899. 347-945-5899. And to any questions that we didn't get to, we will get to them in maybe even on Thursday. Don't forget Thursday, Sons of Allah. It's this week, third Thursday of the month. Just remember. So same station as Moorish Heritage and History School, Blog Talk Radio, Sons of Allah on Thursday. Same call-in number. We just close out with the prayer. Peace and love to all the Moors worldwide. Love you very much. Thank you for your support. And if you want to support, willofallah.com. Get every Iron Sheik album that you can. Burn them for some young people so they can stop listening to trap music and all the other crap that they're listening to, sending them to hell. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day through His holy prophet, Noble Juali. Islam. Amen. Ashe. Rome will fall and is falling. Peace, Moors.